Some promises are made in silence, not with words, but with tears. This is the story of Ethan Miller, a boy who was born into poverty, but refused to die in it. In a small, forgotten town in America, where dust filled the streets and dreams often disappeared with the sunset, lived a family, David, Grace, and their only son, Ethan. They didn't have much. Their home had a leaking roof, a broken stove, and sometimes there was only enough food for one meal a day. But what they did have was love, and a belief that one day, something would change. Ethan was different from the other kids. While they talked about toys or games, he talked about building something. "Someday, I'll change our life," he'd whisper to himself every night, lying on a thin, torn blanket. His father, David, worked in a small factory. Every morning before sunrise, he would walk for miles just to earn a few dollars. But one winter, tragedy struck. David's health failed him. The factory fired him without a second thought. That day, Ethan saw his father sitting quietly by the window, holding his chest, fighting both pain and tears. Ethan was only 14, but in that moment, something inside him changed forever. He made a silent promise to himself. "No matter what it takes, I'll make them proud. I'll give them a life they never dreamed of." He started small. He shined shoes, cleaned stores, and delivered newspapers. Anything that brought a few coins home. He studied under streetlights when the electricity bill couldn't be paid. He skipped meals so his parents wouldn't have to. Every hardship, every pang of hunger, every tear became the fuel that drove him forward. One day, while working at a local shop, an old man walked in. It was Mr. Anderson, a retired entrepreneur. He noticed the spark in Ethan's eyes and asked, "Son, what do you dream of?" Ethan replied softly, "To build something that changes lives, just like my parents changed mine." Mr. Anderson smiled. "Then remember this," he said. "Success doesn't come from money, it comes from purpose. If your heart is clear, you'll never fail." Those words became Ethan's guiding light. He began to learn everything he could about business. He read free books from the library, took online courses at night, and even watched business lectures using the Wi-Fi from outside cafes. He failed hundreds of times. Every plan he made seemed to collapse. People mocked him, saying, "You? A businessman? You don't even have proper shoes." But Ethan never stopped. He believed every failure was building something invisible, like the strong roots of a bamboo plant growing deep underground before it shoots up. Years passed. At 26, after countless sleepless nights and moments of near breakdown, he launched a small tech startup, Miller Tech Innovations, named after his parents. He didn't start with investors or a fancy office. He started with purpose. And slowly, the world began to notice. His company's idea was revolutionary: affordable smart devices for underprivileged communities. It changed everything. Within 5 years, Miller Tech grew from a small garage operation into a global brand. The media called him the boy who changed his destiny. But Ethan didn't care about fame. He cared about one thing: going home. So one summer evening, he returned to his old town. He didn't arrive in a fancy car. He walked the same dusty road he once took barefoot. His parents still lived in the same small house. The roof still leaked. The stove was still broken. When his mother, Grace, opened the door and saw him, she froze. Tears rolled down her wrinkled cheeks. His father, weak but smiling, whispered, "Ethan, you kept your promise." Ethan knelt, took their hands and said, "You both gave me everything when you had nothing. You taught me honesty, faith, and love. That was all the wealth I needed." Then he gave them the biggest surprise of their lives, a key. Outside stood a beautiful new house, warm, glowing, and filled with everything they had once dreamed of. His mother broke down, crying and laughing at the same time. His father's trembling hands touched Ethan's face and said, "We always knew you'd make it." Ethan hugged them both and whispered, "From now on, you'll never know what hunger feels like again. You'll never worry about bills or cold nights. You gave me life, and now it is my turn to give it back to you. The world called him a billionaire, but Ethan called himself blessed. He started a foundation in his parents' name, the Grace and David Foundation, to help poor families and children get education and shelter. Years later, during a global conference, a reporter asked him, "Ethan, what's the secret of your success?" He smiled and said, "It wasn't success. It was love. I just wanted to make my parents proud. And when your reason is pure, the universe helps you." If you're struggling today, remember Ethan's story. Hardship isn't the end. It's the beginning of greatness. Your pain has a purpose, and your love has power. So keep moving, keep believing, and one day, you'll come home as a legend. If this story touched your heart, hit the like button, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe for more stories that remind you it's never too late to rise.